So you're curious about the pros and cons of East Nashville, Tennessee. Well, in this video, I've got Tucker with me today, and we're just going to go through what things come to mind when we talk about the pros and cons of living in the area of East Nashville. It all starts right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, I want to say thanks for stopping in. And Where to Live Nashville, we talk all about the neighborhoods of Nashville, what it's like to live here, what does it feel like, what's the differences. If this kind of information is interesting to you, then please subscribe and follow along with us as we explore Middle Tennessee. Hey, my name is Clay with the Kelton Group. The team and I, we get contacted almost daily from people just like you, about moving to Nashville, and we love it. We're a real estate team. Call us, text us, email us your questions. Let us know what you're interested in learning about. And remember, our desire is no matter if you're moving in 9 days or 90 days to help you connect all the dots so you can make that right move. With that, let's jump right into the video. I've got Tucker here today with me. And Tucker, let's just jump in. What's our first pro for living in East Nashville?
Number one has to be ease of access to downtown Nashville and the surrounding areas. You have two streets that go right into downtown, which is Shelby Street and Main Street. And then when you're going over the bridge, you're going to pass Titan Stadium as well as the new Oracle campus that is coming online as we speak.
That's exactly right. And so the interesting thing about East Nashville, I'm like an orientation person. Well, East Nashville is really, if you look at the map, it's kind of east, but it's kind of northeast. It's kind of like not straight east of Nashville. So it's a little confusing if you're new to town. A lot of it feels like it's more north of downtown Nashville than it is east. But yes, it's referred to as East Nashville. Of course, it's a huge area and it kind of goes off on a 45-degree angle from downtown. But yeah, super close to downtown, and it's actually pretty cool because you can see the skyline from lots of parts of East Nashville. So you can see the downtown skyline, which is really, really cool. So it does feel kind of in a cool way connected to downtown Nashville. That takes me into number two pro for East Nashville, and that's got to be the historic districts and all the historic architecture. It just feels really, really cool. And for being close to downtown Nashville, it's one of the areas that's just heavily laden with history, right, Tucker?
Well, absolutely. And let's not forget Woodland Studios, which is pretty close to 5 Points. A lot of history there. Robert Plant's recorded there, Linda Ronstadt, and we can't forget Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, of course, Nashville, obviously rich with music history. And so certainly, and this is kind of, East Nashville is known as kind of the creative side of town where lots of musicians and artists are going to be drawn to. You'll see lots of murals. You'll see just unique, kind of wild looking painted houses and just very unique properties. And so it certainly caters to the music industry within Nashville. And that takes me into our next pro, and that's going to be the food department. What about food there, Tucker?
Well, this is obviously my favorite subject. A couple places we got to talk about. Rose Peppers, really neat. It's just been there since really when East Nashville started really becoming hip. If you're a coffee person, Bongo Java. You also have Ugly Mugs, which is a great name, by the way. Those are really my top ones. Also, Lachlan Table.
Yeah, the food, there's so many restaurants. It's hard to pick. The list goes on, truly. And there's so many unique restaurants. You don't get a ton of chain restaurants. You're going to get a lot of really local food, farm to table, There is there's some chain, but man, it feels like there's so many cool restaurants, taco shops. Of course, you said Roast Pepper Cantina, a really popular Mexican place. The list just goes on and on. Hot Chicken, Nashville Biscuit House, Mitchell's Delicatessen, Tower Deli. So depending on what part of East Nashville you're in, there's tons of food. Sweet 16th Bakery, that's a place that you've got to check out. There's a line out the door usually for these little breakfast egg kind of biscuit things. So certainly lots of places to check out. Tucker, what's next? Or what else you got?
Hold on, we can't forget about Moss Tacos. We were just there about a week or so ago. Interesting setup, order outside and then you go inside to eat, but a lot of flavor. That's one of the nice things about East Nashville is what you said, there's a lot of local flair.
Absolutely. All right, that takes us to our next pro is all the different unique neighborhoods within East Nashville. You're going to have, again, it's a big area and it's going to kind of be bordered with the Cumberland River off to the east. But you're going to have pockets like your Laughlin Springs, which is your true quintessential historic district. And it's going to be one of the closer parts of East Nashville to downtown. You're going to see, north of that, you're going to see Eastwood Neighbors, still historic district. And you're going to also see, if you keep driving out further east and further north, you're going to hit the districts that were really built out in the 50s, 60s, 70s, Fortland Park, Rosebank. As you go north, you're going to hit Inglewood, which is, again, there's still some historic homes in Inglewood, but it's going to be your northern part of East Nashville. And once you get to Inglewood, you're really going to switch zip codes to 37216. So 37206 is going to be your primary core East Nashville historic districts, including Laughlin. And then Inglewood, 37216, as you get further away from downtown Nashville. And then I think it's worth saying also, you're going to also get 37207 is going to be like your Cleveland Park section, which is going to be just to the west of Laughlin and all that. And it's going to be to the west of Ellington, which is a road that goes north and south. So it's a good dividing line, but it's an emerging area. Cleveland Park is like East Nashville, probably like Laughlin felt 10, 15 years ago. And so it's very emerging, still a historic district. Dickerson Pike is going to be your main corridor through there. Your houses are going to be a little more affordable in that Cleveland Park area. So you really do have so many different pockets once you get into town to explore, and they all can feel a little different. You got the Shelby Hills neighborhood as well, which is going to be right along the Cumberland River. There's lots of new construction there. You're going to actually catch some views of the water there, which is pretty special. But I would say East Nashville is the moniker for the huge area, and then you can drill down into lots of different pockets to find these other little neighborhood areas within East Nashville. Tucker, what do we have next?
Sure. The next pro is really East Nashville is still a growth area. Just like you talked about Cleveland Park, you can still find homes that are not crazy in price, that might need some fixing up, or they might be pretty dialed in, but they just hadn't hit that other price point that other parts of Nashville have hit. So you can really come in and enjoy a little bit of the growth before everyone else continues to show up in these areas.
That's exactly right. Our next pro is going to be the ease of access to parks and outdoors. And so East Nashville, it has greenways that go along the river that tie it in to lots of other areas of Nashville, which is really pretty cool. Shelby Park is a huge 360-acre park right there along, adjacent to East Nashville. And it's going to be right along the river there, the Cumberland River. Shelby Park is huge. You got a lake there. You have a golf course plus another kind of more of a kids golf course. You have the Shelby Bottoms Greenway. You have baseball parks. You have disc golf. You got outdoor, just, beautiful areas outdoors. Shelby Park's a huge asset to East Nashville and to Nashville in general. You can actually go and take a bridge across the river to get to that Opryland Briley Parkway side of Nashville. So Shelby Park is a huge asset. And of course, you've got tons of sidewalks. People are walking their dogs all over the place in East Nashville. Caters to the outdoor lover out there. And so certainly worth knowing about. What's next, Tucker?
Sure. So that really knocks out all of our pros that we have here today. And next thing we're going to talk about is the cons and things that you guys should know if this is an area that you're considering moving to. And the first one really goes into when you're in East Nashville, you're going to have a really nice home that's right next to a home that hasn't been updated. And so that's something that can be confusing to some people for the first time that they're in this area.
Right. And depending on what part of East Nashville you're in, still developing out, you may see some houses being torn down, the brand new house next to an older, not fixed up house. Some of your core, most expensive areas are going to be pretty well done, renovated and dialed in. But East Nashville is a huge area, and it's, like you said, it's a very diverse housing in East Nashville. So it's hard to say exactly what it's going to look like until you go pull up to that house and really see. So yeah, certainly a unique aspect is the amount of development and growth happening in the east side. I think the next con is going to be traffic. It is because the river does wrap a lot of East Nashville. You're going to have a few main ways to get in and out of there. Gallatin Road, Main Street turns into Gallatin Road, and that's going to be your main commercial corridor, all straight through the middle of East Nashville. 4 lanes plus a turning lane, I think, for most of it. And so that could get congested for sure, depending on the time of day. So yeah, traffic can be a thing depending on where you work. Another thing is some areas you don't have the best interstate access. You can get to parts of East Nashville that will be potentially 15 minutes away from the interstate. So on a map, it may not look that far, but when you realize, hey, I got to go 12 minutes west to get to the interstate before I can get on the interstate and get to town, it becomes a factor. So certainly, not all of it, because some of it is like right across the river from downtown Nashville. So it's not all that far out, but there's parts of it that can get a little more isolated, driving wise, at least, right?
Well, absolutely. And that's also, in some ways, also a benefit. You can actually feel like you're practically in the middle of nowhere in parts of East Nashville, because you do have a lot of trees, you do have a lot of green space. But it will take time. So if you're trying to commute to Cool Springs or one of these other corporate business parks around Nashville, trying to get to the interstate and to that part might extend your time just a little.
Yeah, that's right on. It's the other side of the river, and there's, one great way to get there, and it puts a lot of cars going to the same place. So again, depending on where you work, it may or may not become a convenient place to live. That said, the next con on our list is school zones. And that's not saying the school zones are bad at all. There's some really well-known school zones there, but especially in the Lockland area, it's a priority zone. So you're not guaranteed access to the school. It depends on how many people have applied. And then there's a priority zone where people that live nearby have the best shot at getting in. And school rules can change at any time. So definitely, double check all your sources if you're making school decisions. But I have heard that from customers that, if you can't get into school and you have little kids, then it becomes a factor. Whereas in other parts of Nashville, you may just live in an area and you're guaranteed access to that school that you may have moved there for. So that's one little thing. And there is lots of Montessori options, charter schools, definitely an emerging school scene in East Nashville. Dan Mills is going to be your elementary school as you go up to Inglewood. And I know a lot of people we've had have started in Lockland, and then they move up towards the Dan Mills school zone for that reason. So again, this is just one factor that may affect your decision, or, if you've got kids of school age. Tucker, one other thing that I think we got to mention, and this is back in the pro category, is the festivals and the farmers market. What do we know about these things?
Sure. We have to start off with the East Nashville Farmers Market. It's every Tuesday. It starts in April and goes towards the end of the year. There's a couple of weekends, Tuesdays that they do have off, but really neat stuff that's there. It's definitely something to consider. You can definitely check out their Facebook page to learn more, but you're going to see a lot of neat stuff, and highly recommend.
Yep, I love it. And the Tomato Street Festival is a huge, one-of-a-kind festival. It's worth checking out in East Nashville. Everybody comes out. And so, again, East Nashville is such a special place, such a unique place, a place rich with history. Absolutely love it. We've sold a ton of houses in East Nashville. So if East Nashville is something that you're interested in, hit us up, give us a call, text, email, let us know what you're curious about. We can go explore or share our knowledge with the areas with you. That's all we've got for now. Remember, if you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, we'd love to help you connect all the dots so you can make the right move. And until next time, we hope to show you around town.